Good morning, everybody. I, Manoj Pandey, Head Corporate Interface, EMPI Business School, New Delhi. Welcome all of you for today's session on 6 Pillars of Success by Dr. Nilanjan Mukherjee. EMPI Group of Institutions was conceptualized in 1995 by cognitive scientist Pankaj Saran sir, who is the president of EMPI Group. And the institutions was built by a group of admired nation builders who were highly committed and successful professionals and academicians in their respective domain. Our present patron chairman is Padma Bhushan Sri N. Vittal sir, enabler of IT and telecom revolution in India. Today, what you see as the big and growing business of the digital world, IT, ITES, telecom, artificial intelligence, big data, and internet in India, all credit goes to our chairman for his vision and commitment, which turned the economy of our country and provided millions of jobs to youth. EMPI offer a top-line AI-infused PGDM program across all management verticals. EMPI provide the management student globally recognized AI skill certification, which is very important to get a good job and the career growth. EMPI is the only business school which has AI lab powered by IBM and bot lab powered by Automation Anywhere, USA. For aspiring managers, both these labs are very useful to get hands-on training. EMPI is the only business school in Delhi which has Atal Incubation Center supported by Niti Aayog, Government of India. This will provide our students the opportunity to gain practical managerial experience. And for those who want to start their own business, this is the right launchpad for young startup aspirants. The good news is that in this critical time of COVID-19 pandemic, we are still offering excellent placement to our students. Under the able leadership of our present President Pankaj Saran sir, EMPI Group is involved in building Vittal Innovation City, a joint venture with Andhra Pradesh government, a high technological innovation cluster like Silicon Valley in USA. We welcome you all today for the session 6 Pillars of Success. Indeed, it's our pleasure to have with us today Dr. Nilanjan Mukherjee, an ILM Lucknow alumni, an author, and corporate mentor, and so on. He is currently holding position as DGM HR at Relaxo Group. He has more than 18 years of accomplished career with leading Indian and multinational group in human resource domain. Worked in highly business-driven, fast-paced, and progressive organization aiming at profitability through sustainable growth. Talking about his exposure at Relaxo Group, designing and implementing SAP success factors, HR module for concept to commissioning, designing and implementing HR SOPs for HR by E&Y Group, KRA framing and implementing by Accenture Business Transformation Team. So we are going to start the session. So well, participants, a few points for you to remember. You all are kept on mute mode. Once the discussion ends, there will be a question and answer session. I request please put your questions in the chat box. Dr. Mukherjee will answer your questions. So Dr. Mukherjee, I request you to start the session from your end.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pandeyji, for inviting me for this session. Good morning to all my brothers and sisters of EMPI. It is my proud privilege. I've been waiting for the day for quite some time now. I have recruited, your super senior somewhere, I remember in the year 2005, but never got a chance to, further interact in any of my organization. You must have heard, all of you, that the best thing in this world is to see your parents and teachers smiling. And the second best thing in this world is to know that you are reason of it. By joining EMPI, 80% of the job is already done, life is already sorted. And remaining 20% of the job will be done if you follow whatever suggestions I will give you today. Okay, so big round of applause to all of you for selecting a good institute for your post-graduation. I am now projecting the presentation. Please let me know if you are able to see the presentation.
Yes,
are
sir.
you able to see the presentation?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So, when this topic was given to me by Mr. Pandey, six pillars of success, I thought, oh my God, what am I probably going to tell these people who have already completed their class, 12th, followed by graduation, 3 to 4 years of graduation, and now pursuing their post graduation. So, what am I probably going to tell them? And then I looked at the name. EMPI B stands for business and S stands for school, and I realized that the law of success, lies in the name itself. So today I am going to tell you six pillars from the initials of your institution's name, and it is my firm belief that if you follow these six initial all throughout your life, your success journey will be much faster than anticipated. So the first alphabet is E in your college's name. And here starts my first, topic for today. And here E stands for emotion. So, my dear brothers and sisters, this story goes back in the year 1982. This gentleman whom you are seeing on the screen is none other than Mr. Navjot Singh Sidhu. Mr. Navjot Singh Sidhu, many of you might be knowing as a laughter champion, but he was earlier a famous cricketer, and he is presently also very active in the politics. His Navjot was from a very, very affluent family. His father, Mr. Balwant Singh Sidhu, was himself a Ranji player. Mr. Balwant Singh Sidhu himself was from a very affluent family, and he was working as additional Solicitor General in Chandigarh High Court, so which was a very, very big, you know, administrative post. So both in terms of family wealth as well as the reputation of father, he was from a very wealthy family. When his name was selected in the Indian squad, many people said that Mr. Sidhu did not deserve it, and it is only because of his father's source he has got this. So he used to feel very bad. And what happened was, when he finally started the first, test match, then he scored, very poor runs. He could not even hit 10 runs in the initial two test match in all the four innings. As a result of this, his name was dropped from the Indian squad. When his name was dropped from the Indian squad, okay, one day, and Sidhu, smart kid he was, what he used to do was that since he was from a very rich and affluent family, so his house was not an house, it was a mansion. And in that mansion, there were numerous rooms. So Mr. Balwant Singh Sidhu, what his father used to do was every day at morning 4 a.m., he used to come and he used to wake up Sidhu, and he used to ask him that go and start practicing. But Sidhu, smart kid he was, so what he used to do was he used to very smartly get up from his bed, and then he used to move to another room, and there he used to sleep for another 4 hours. And after that he used to come in front of his father, splashing water all over his face, all over his t-shirt, giving an impression that he is absolutely wet by doing exercise for last 4 hours. And then his father used to say, ja sher da puttar, thoda rest kar le, bahut exercise kar liya tune. So this is how Sidhu was managing his days. He was not practicing as he should have or ought to have. In spite of that, he was a good player. So he got selected, but the media reports and everywhere it was said that he was, he got this opportunity only because of his father's influence. So one day, what happened was that Sidhu was entering his room and he heard his father was crying. And when his father was crying, then he could not enter. His father was right behind the curtain. He could not enter the room. He stood there silently for some time, and when his father was okay, he went inside the room. He saw that there was a newspaper which was lying on the table, and at that point of time, there was a famous cricket critic, Mr. Rajan Bala, and Mr. Rajan Bala wrote an article, "The Strokeless Wonder." That was a half-page article, "The Strokeless Wonder," and it was written that how uh, because of people like Sidhu, other talented people in India are not getting opportunity which they truly deserve. His father was extremely devastated by reading this. And when Sidhu read this, he was also extremely disappointed. But on that day, he took a commitment. He cut that newspaper article, half page newspaper article, and he pasted that on his wardrobe. He took some water in his hand and he made sacred vows. And he said that from today onwards, I am not going to come back to my home unless and until I hit 156s every day. Yes, you have heard it right. He committed that he will practice so much that every day, unless and until he hit 156s every day, he is not going to come back home. So, this was the commitment he made. He took out all the colorful clothes from his wardrobe and he burned all the colorful clothes. Now his wardrobe had only and only cricketing dress and only white dress. And he said that, till the day I am going to get selected in Indian squad again, I am not going to wear colorful clothes. From the next morning, when Mr. Balwant Singh Sidhu went at 4 a.m. to pick up Sidhu, servant told Balwant Singh Sidhu, "Sir, आज बाबा 3:30 बजे सुबह मैच प्रैक्टिस करने चले गए." And from that day, at time, Mr. Sidhu used to come 9 p.m. in the evening, from morning till 9 p.m. in the evening, at times at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and at times at midnight. Why? Because he would have not finished his daily quota of 156s. That was the commitment he made. Now what used to happen was that his friend used to get tired throwing balls at him repeatedly, balls after balls, and then he realized that he would not be able to fulfill his promise. So he hired school students, and those school students used to throw ball at him. And sometimes when he used to come back and when he used to take out his gloves, along with the sweat, sometimes blood used to also come out of his gloves. He used to practice so much. But you know what happened? 5 years of rigorous practice made him do wonders in the Ranji Trophy match. He used to hit six, right, left, center, and then selector had no choice but to give him a chance. The year was 1987. He again got a chance, and this time in the Cricket World Cup. And did you know what he did? He hit 6 back-to-back half centuries. Not only that, in that series, he hit 22 sixes. Nowadays, Mr. De Villiers from South Africa or many other players, they are hitting, maybe 20 sixes in one match itself. But at that point of time, 22 sixes in a series was a big thing. He became man of the series. And one day, when he was coming back from pavilion to his dressing room, the present Indian cricket coach, Mr. Ravi Shastri, threw the newspaper at him. It was the same newspaper. It was the same cricket critic, Mr. Rajan Bala. But this time, Mr. Bala wrote another article, "From the strokeless wonder to the palm tree hitter, new Navjot Singh Sidhu." My dear brothers and sisters, always have emotion in your life. Without emotion, we are nothing. And if you have emotion, if you follow the right path, then you can erase whatever in the past you have done mistake. You can erase everything if you follow your true emotions. From this very important alphabet of E, of the first alphabet of EMPI, I now move to the second alphabet, and that is M. And M is meritorious. This is story, real life story of my father's best friend, which I have written in my book, You Will Succeed. Mr. K.C. Harindranath, he was my father's best friend. And my father was head of engineering in one of the chemical explosive manufacturing plant, which was earlier in Madhya Pradesh. This was a public sector plant. So the chemical explosive which this factory used to make was used to blast the coal mines. In this particular factory, in the year was 1982, when there was no full-time safety officer, because we all know that in public sector, the recruitment happens at a very slow speed. Recruitment happens by newspaper advertisement followed by interviews, and it takes time because it has to go through proper channel. So on that day in 1982, very heavy fire broke out in the factory. When the very heavy fire broke out, Mr. K.C. Harindranath, who was a non-executive HR officer, he was not an executive, he was non-executive cadre employee. On that day, he took the charge in his hand. There was fire all over place. He reached to each and every section in his factory. He knocked on each and every door, and he saved more than 20 lives on that day. He took all the people on his shoulders and rescued them to safety. From the fire affected area, he went there and he took all the people on his shoulders one by one and rescued everyone to the safety. Once he saved everybody, then he started to use the water gun to, and finally the fire brigade team arrived, and that's how the thing could be managed. No life was in danger, but yes, heavy loss of products were there on that particular day. Now seeing this initiative and the act of bravery, the plant head, who was at the level of general manager, he recommended an out of turn promotion for Mr. K.C. Harindranath on that day. After 1 week, through proper channel, Mr. K.C. Harindranath was promoted from a non executive cadre employee to an executive cadre employee. And his promotion letter was handed over in front of all the workers, all the staff of the factory. Now, do you know what happened the next day? You will not believe what I am going to tell you. The next day, there was a protest march. People were wearing black protest bands in their hands, and they are raising slogan that please take back the promotion. When the general manager called the protester and asked them the reason, they told them that there are many people in the worker and non-executive staff category who are graduates, who are postgraduate, who are appearing for departmental exams year after year, but they are not able to qualify and become officer. And here this man did an act of bravery for 2 hours on a particular day. Yes, we agree that what he did was really amazing, really fantastic. But giving him a promotion, an out of turn promotion, by doing so, you are giving him a benefit which will help him in next 30 years of service. So this is something which is not acceptable. You could have given him a bravery award. You could have given him one-time bonus or any special recognition award or any sum of huge money as a compensation. But you have given him a promotion, and this promotion is going to help him lifelong. So this is something which is not acceptable, and you must take it back. My dear brothers and sisters, Mr. K.C. Hanindranath was from a very, very, down to earth family, very, and circumstances compelled him to start job at the age of 18 years, and hence he could not finish his graduation. And as a result of which he never dreamed, he never thought in his life that he will ever become an officer. After this protest march, the general manager of the plant called Mr. K.C. Harindranath in his cabin. When Mr. K.C. Harindranath entered there, he asked him that please close the door. Door was closed. And then the general manager told Mr. K.C. Harindranath that Mr. K.C. Harindranath, never in our dreams we thought that people will be so ingratitudeful and they will raise a protest against you. And some of the protesters are those people whom you saved their life. This is something which is really unbelievable, but this is what has happened. This world is very cruel, Mr. K.C. Harindranath. They will not realize the good deeds done by you. They will only and only realize your meritocracy. So now, I request you that we are not going to take back your promotion, but you will have to improve your qualification by anyhow, so that tomorrow you can tell them that you really deserve this position. Mr. K.C. Harindranath left that room. He was absolutely emotionally drained, very, very disappointed, and he did not know how to react on this. This was the matter on Friday evening. Whole weekend was ruined. Sunday morning, he read an article. That article was about Jesus, and it was written in that article that Jesus once helped 10 lepers through his blessings, and out of those 10 lepers, only one leper came back and said thank you, and remaining 9 lepers who were suffering from leprosy, jumped with joy and left that spot. And then Mr. K.C. Harindranath thought that if Jesus, God Himself, did not got His due credit, then who am I? From that day onward, Mr. K.C. Harindranath used to wake up every morning at 5:30 a.m. He used to do walking for 1 hour. He used to go to office. Once he used to come back from office from evening 6:30 till midnight 12. He used to study, study, and study. He was 32 years old. By the time he was 42 years old, he completed his Bachelor of Humanities, First Division. He completed his Master of Humanities, First Division. He completed PG Diploma in Personal Management and Industrial Relation, First Division. He completed LLB Labor Laws, First Division. He completed Prayag, Praveen, Prabodh examination of Government of India, which is mandatory for every non-speaking Hindi employee. He completed everything with First Division. By the age of 42, he was promoted several times and transferred to his home state. He retired at the age of 60. He is today 71 years old and managing his own business, international export business from Kochi. He is Mr. K.C. Harindranath, my father's best friend. He has shown us that the world is very cruel. It understands only one thing, and that is your meritoriousness in nature. You have to be deserving for whatever position you acquire, my dear brothers and sisters, and never forget that. From this, I have told you already about E, I have told you about M, and now the next alphabet in your college name is P, and I am now going to tell you about P, and P stands for planning ahead. All the management professional, my dear brothers and sisters like you and me, must know the art of planning ahead. I give you two examples. Both the businessmen were born with silver spoon. First is the name of Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla. Kumar Mangalam Birla had to become the chairman of his group at the young age of 29. Why? Because of sudden demise of his father. He was a chartered accountant. In the year 1995, when his father left the legacy, it was a $3.3 billion company. By the year 2019, he made it $48.3 billion company. Now, the combined group has presence in more than 34 countries, and the employee is 1,20,000 employees. They are into fiber, metal, cement, yarn, branded apparels, carbon black, chemical fertilizer, insulator, financial services, and telecom sector. And each and every business in all business metrics is doing wonderfully well. Why? Because it is very, very well thought of. What he did was, when he became chairman, he recruited right people at the right place. He gave them freedom to do their work. And then slowly and steadily, he focused at one business. He improved that business. Then he focused on second business. He improved that business. Then on third, fourth. And this way, he made this huge legacy, which we see today. Another is example of Mr. Rajesh Gandhi, managing director of Vadilal Industries. Vadilal Industry is more than 114 years old group. Vadilal in the year 1980 used to make a very, very wonderful ice cream. Till today, they are making very, very wonderful ice cream. Vadilal ice cream had the potential to become India's best ice cream brand. In fact, in 40 years, they could have become the world's best ice cream brand. But could they become so? No. In spite of so many years of legacy, their present turnover is just 450 crores. Their market share price is just 548 crores. And why? They were doing very good in the ice cream business. All of a sudden, they thought that the ready to eat food business is very good. So they chased that rabbit. Then they thought the forex business is very good. They immediately started to chase the forex business. Then they thought, why not to invest in real estate? And they started to do in real estate, and then they moved to chemicals. They tried to do too many things at one point of time without establishing themselves good in one particular business. They thought of business diversification too soon. My dear brothers and sisters, this is where the planning comes into picture. First plan, keep the end in mind. Focus on one action item, then focus on another action item, then on third. Hire right people at the right place. Give them freedom. Let them do their work. Whatever action from now on you are going to do in your life, plan ahead, and that will make you successful. From this very important alphabet of P, I now move to the fourth alphabet of EMPI, and I stands for integrity. So till now, are you enjoying? Are you learning something? Can you quickly raise your hand and tell me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you very much. So the fourth alphabet is I, and I stands for integrity. This is story of Professor Subramaniam Chandrasekhar. Mr. C.V. Raman was a very great Indian scientist. The year was 1950. By the age of 1948, Mr. Subramaniam was already a retired professor. And during early 50s, he thought that he will start his own scientific institution. So he published a newspaper ad locally as well as nationally. And scientists all over India, they applied for this position. When they applied for this position, their objective was that even if we don't get selected, at least during the interview, we would meet the great scientist, Mr. C.V. Raman. So, after the first round of interview, 5 people were shortlisted for the second round. And on the second round, Mr. C.V. Raman himself was about to meet the candidates. When he was about to meet the candidates, what happened was that out of the 5, top 3 people got shortlisted. And Mr. Subramaniam Chandrasekhar, he came in number 4. Since there were only 3 positions, hence Mr. C.V. Raman told Mr. Professor Chandrasekhar that I'm extremely disappointed to tell you, and this is really unfortunate. You were a good candidate, but since I have only 3 positions, and I have already shortlisted the top 3 candidates, so I am not in a position to select you. But you are a very good candidate. I wish you all the best. You may leave right now. Collect your dues from our accountant, your TADA, traveling allowance, and dearless allowance from the accountant, and you may leave. Proceed. So Mr. Professor Chandrasekhar left that venue. He went to the accountant. He gave them the railway tickets for reimbursement. And what happened was that the accountant gave him money, and then he left. And when Mr. Professor Chandrasekhar was counting, he realized that instead of 7 rupees, he got 14 rupees. This was the year 1950. 7 extra rupees in today's context is equivalent to 1,400 rupees in today's context. So he realized that this was a huge money. So he sat outside the accountant's room. He was sitting there, and he was wandering here and there near that room. After the interview was over, Mr. C.V. Raman was going towards his house, which was within the same vicinity. And he saw Mr. Professor Chandrasekhar was standing right there. He went straight to him and asked him that, haven't I told you that you were rejected? Why are you still roaming around? Because Mr. C.V. Raman used to hate those people who used to waste time. And then Professor Chandrasekhar told him that, sir, please don't get me wrong. Actually, your accountant has handed over 7 rupees extra to me. And I realize that this could be probably his 2-3 days of salary. And this would not be good on my part to take this money and leave. And hence I am waiting for him so that I can hand over this money to him, and then I can leave. Professor C.V. Raman told him that you return that money to me, hand over that money to me. And you do one thing, you cancel your ticket and see me tomorrow again at 10 a.m. in that interview room. So he was surprised, and but he thought, okay, I will meet Mr. CV Raman once more. So he cancelled his ticket. Next morning he reached to that interview room. Mr. CV Raman was right there. He handed over his appointment letter to him, and he was surprised. What happened? Yesterday he told him that there were only three positions. So he told him that I will remove your shortcoming in physics by giving you training, but where will I find man with such an integrity? And do you know what happened? You will not believe what happened. Mr. Professor Chandrasekhar Subramaniam was so humbled with this approach of Mr. C.V. Raman that he worked very, 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 very hard. And later, Professor Subramaniam Chandrasekhar himself became a Nobel laureate. So, Mr. C.V. Raman was a Nobel Prize winner. Professor Chandrasekhar Subramaniam, who was not initially getting selected, he kept the respect and which C.V. Raman showed towards him, and he himself worked very hard and himself become a Nobel Prize winner. And he wrote in his book, Those 7 rupees, that those 7 rupees changed my life. Just imagine if on that day he could have taken that 7 rupees and left. Nobody would have, probably realized, but he would have never probably become a Nobel laureate himself. So, my dear brothers and sisters, no matter how good are you, no matter how good your domain skills and knowledge are, if you are not a man of integrity, you cannot survive in the corporate world. So, always be a man and woman of integrity. From this very important alphabet, EMPI is now over, and now I am moving to B Business School B. So B stands for Believe in Yourself. This is story of Mr. Prem Ganapati. Mr. Prem Ganapati was a worker. He used to earn daily wages in Chennai. He used to work in a local factory. One day, his relative came to him and he told him that why don't you come to with me to Mumbai? Mumbai is land of opportunity. You will get various jobs there. Why don't you come with me? So Prem Ganapati, without telling his parents in Chennai, left for Mumbai. When he left for Mumbai, in Mumbai's VT station, Victoria Terminal Station, that distant relative of him took all the money from him, took all his luggage, and abandoned him at that place. He was only 15 years old and he left the spot. Prem Ganapati knew only Tamil language. He did not knew English, Hindi, or Marathi. He was crying profusely near that station. A fellow Tamilian realized that he is a Tamil kid. He took him to nearby Ayappa Mandir. In that Ayappa Mandir, that fellow Tamilian, he requested all the devotees to give some money to him so that he can go back to Chennai. He handed over some money to him and he said that this is enough for you to buy your ticket to Chennai and to have some food while you are on the journey. Go back to your parents and never do this mistake again. But Mr. Subramanian Prem Ganapati thought that I have came here without informing my parents, and now I am not going to go back unless I am successful. He went to each and every dhaba, each and every hotel in that vicinity, and he requested to give him a job. And finally, he got a dishwasher job. So he started to do dishwashing. For 2 years, he did dishwashing. During these 2 years, he became very good in speaking Hindi as well as Marathi. From a dishwasher, he became a tea boy. So now he used to serve tea. And while serving tea, he used to get some tips. He became so professional, tea boy server, that people used to come and ask for him. And because मुझे तो चाय उसी के हाथ से खानी है और पीनी है. And then slowly and steadily he became so good that one person came and offered him a partnership. That you have very good interpersonal skills. You have very good communication skills. You make friends very quickly. So what I will do is I will set up my own stall, snack stall. You become the manager. You run the business. Okay. And whatever is I will give my capital. You invest your time. And whatever will be the profit, we will share among us 50-50. He agreed because he could not have got this kind of chance ever. Slowly and steadily in the new business where he was the manager, okay, the person who invested his capital, he became greedy. He threw him out of the business. He did not pay him any dues, which, as per his salary or whatever was the 50-50 understanding he had. And but he never lost, hope. He started with whatever saving he had. He started his own roadside food stall, and now in his own roadside food stall, he started to make idli and dosa. And in order to give authentic taste to his dosa, he used to take and use all the recipes which he used to bring from Chennai, the spices and all the stuffs. And slowly and steadily, by trial and error method, by experimentation, he introduced close to 30 different style of dosas, 30 styles. Slowly and steadily, his food stall became very, very famous among food mongers. And now he got sufficient money to open a dosa plaza. Just adjacent to dosa plaza, there was Chinese plaza. People used to eat Chinese more than his dosa. So he started to do experimentation. In his dosa, he used to put Manchurian. He used to put, chow mein dosa. He invented 124 different variety of dosa. Yes, you heard it right. 124 different variety of dosa. Today, my dear brothers and sisters, a person who was just 10th pass, he has more than 100 retail outlets. Many of them are franchise, not only in India, in Dubai, Kuwait, Qatar, Singapore, New Zealand, big, big countries. His turnover is more than 150 crores. My dear brothers and sisters, on that day, if he would have taken money, which that fellow Tamilian uncle has arranged for him, could he have ever done it? He could not. He could only do it because he believed in himself. From this very important alphabet of B, I now move to the final alphabet of EMPI BS, and that is S, and S stands for solution oriented. This is story of Leon Simpkins. Leon Simpkins was partner and general manager of a publishing house called Simon and Rockefeller Center in United States of America. This story is more than 100-year-old story. So this gentleman was facing a problem that although he was sitting in a very strategic position, but many a times his crucial important times was getting misused in operational issues, and as a result of which he was not able to do strategic thinking. He was not able to increase the business. He thought that, oh my god, what should I do to make this really work? So what he did was, one day he locked himself in his office and he asked to himself that today I am not going to move out of this room unless and until I have a solution to make each and every meetings of mine very, very fruitful. Because people used to ask him for a meeting time, and then he used to devote time in meeting, and fruitful things used to take a back seat. So he invented this four magical question, my dear brothers and sisters. Today I am going to tell you the secret of these four magical questions. You just write down these four magical questions. The first was, what is the problem? The second was, what is the cause of the problem? The third was, what are the possible solutions to eradicate this problem? And the fourth was, what is the best solution you recommend me? Now, he called his secretary and dictated these four important questions. What is the problem? What is the cause of the problem? What are the four solutions to eradicate the problem? And what is the best solution you recommend me? And now he told his secretary, now whenever somebody asks for my time, hand over this paper to him and ask him to write or type in very neat language. They must elaborate on these 4 points, and only after reading this, if I am satisfied, I would allocate my time. Do you know what happened when he implemented this? His time in useless and unproductive meeting decreased by more than 90%. Why? Because when people used to write what is the problem, what is the cause of the problem, what are the four solutions to the problem, and what is the best solution, they realized that the solution were there with them only, and they no longer needed his advice. They needed now his advice only and only in case if it was a very very strategic thing, or in case there was some financial implication in that decision. My dear brothers and sisters, whenever in life you face any problem, whether personal, whether professional, whether family related problem, just write these four questions. What is the problem? What is the cause of the problem? What are the four solutions to eradicate problem? And what is the best solution? I can assure you that by the time you write the answer of the fourth question, 85% of your problem will get evaporated. So this is it, my brothers and sisters, all which I had to share with you, the six pillars of success. I have written a book called You Will Succeed. I would request you to go through this book. It is available in Flipkart and Amazon. It is also available on Kindle. You can buy this book. And I'm sure if you read this book, it is just 132-page book, very small book. But if you read this book, it will help you in your success journey. My name, my mobile number, and email ID is mentioned over here in the screen. You can see. All of you can send me, LinkedIn request. I will accept that. Anytime in future, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Manojji, I'm handing over the session now back to you. If there is any questions, I will be happy to take those questions.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your experience with us and the way you have explained our EMPI Business School. We have never thought in this way. So I'll ask the students, the participants, if they have any question to be asked. We can have quick questions. If any student want to ask any question, they can ask directly to the sir.
If there is any question in the chat box, you can read those questions.
In chat box, we don't have any questions. If a student want to ask, they can directly ask. They can unmute themselves and they can ask questions.
Okay. If there is no question, can you quickly write in the chat box, how did you feel with respect to the session? You can write aho, you can write darun, you can write wonderful, awesome, so that I can understand that how did you feel about the session. Can you quickly write something on the chat box? Let me see your entries. Quickly. You are getting some responses now.
I think we have good audience. I think we have Pari, Ankit, Weber, Swarnima. If you all want to ask anything about your career goal, about how to get success in near future, it is a good platform. You can have all your questions answers.
Thank you very much. I have got this inputs. Okay, Manoj sir, if there is no more question, then I would take your permission to leave the session now.
Just a second.
Well,
yeah, we have our Dean Academic Premises, sir, with us.
Yeah. Good morning,
Dr.
sir.
Nilanjan. Good morning. Dr. Nilanjan, I was thrilled to in this session. I would like to say it was really wonderful, very
Thank you very much.
encouraging. The stories, the anecdotes were really good. Right? You will succeed, right?
Yes.
So it was a wonderful story you have talked about, starting from Sidhu to the business person who, from the scullery work to retail food chain, business tycoon was really very much encouraging. I'm sure the students will take the best benefit of it. Thank you so much for coming over here. Now, Manoj, I would request you to offer the vote of thanks.
Sir, we have a question from a participant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
So he wanted to ask like how to impress an interviewer.
Yeah. See, there is a whole session of close to 1 hour or 90 minutes which I have prepared. The art of winning your dream job. So someday I would request Manoj Pandey sir to organize that session, the art of winning your dream job, and on that day, I would be able to tell you, because this is something which cannot be explained in 2 minutes. But some other day I will dedicate my time on that topic, and you will all get benefited. Any other question if you have? If I have to tell it in very short and crisp, then if you want to really impress an interviewer, focus on your studies. Okay, get very very good marks, in your PGDM. Try to score as much as you can. Try to extract knowledge as much as you can, and try to read books which are uh, not only your books recommended by the college, but other books. Try to read the Harvard Business Report on a daily basis, on a routine basis. Try to if you don't have time, listen to audio tapes, audio books, while you are traveling, while you are coming back and going to uh, your school. Right now it is all online, but the moment things improve, whenever you are going and moving in your car, rather than listening to music, listen to audiobooks. What happens is, if you listen to audiobooks just 2 hours a day, then in 1 year you would have listened to 730 hours of audiobooks. Imagine if you have read so many or listened to so many audiobooks, then you will be among the top 5% of your batch. When you are among the top 5% of your batch, you have those many number of examples to share to the interviewer, and interviewer would immediately spot the talent in you. So work on your credential, work on your capabilities, work on your competency during this next 2 years, and it will help you impress the interviewer. And some other day I will do a session for another full 1 hour, and then you will get to know each and every minutest detail of how to become successful in an interview. Yes sir, any other thing?
So we don't have any questions, so I think we can wind up the session.
Right.
So again, I thank you very much, sir, for your valuable time you have given to us. So it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks for the webinar. We are extremely happy that Dr. Nilanjan Mukherjee have taken out time for such an insightful discourse on 6 pillars of success. Even we, the faculty members, were enlightened by your talk. Once again, I thank you for having spared your precious time for all of us. We thank our President Pankaj Saran sir and Vice President Dr. Abira Saran ma'am to patronize the session. We thank all faculty members and staff for extending their support. And of course, I thank all the participants who were rapidly engrossed in the brilliant session. We have lined up some more such discussions. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram for more updates on such wonderful sessions. Thank you all and have a nice day. And dear participants, for your kind information, I wish to inform you all that on 17 July, we are having a panel discussion on changing dynamics of career prospects in healthcare and digitalization. Looking forward to see you all on 17 July. Please register yourself on the link which we will be sending to you shortly. So thank you very much, Nilanjan sir. Thank you, Premasi sir, and
Thank you.
thank you all the
Thank you.
participants.
All the best to all my brothers and sisters. Do well. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.